On today's episode of the CLS Experience, we have a very powerful treat. You might recognize him from his iconic role as Hercules in the hit TV series Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, where he absolutely crushed it in that role. Big facts. He's a multifaceted, dynamic actor, director, producer, and author. No big deal. With over 40 films and 200 TV episodes under his belt, his footprint in the entertainment world is undeniable and abundant. He also speaks from his heart to audiences around the world and has a plethora of powerful roles in faith-based films, further showcasing his versatility, which is unmatched. Beyond the screen, he's a passionate philanthropist, and his book, True Strength, chronicles his journey of recovery after suffering 3 strokes, showcasing his resilience and indomitable spirit. He's just a juggernaut in all facets of life and a terrific father and husband. Please welcome the multidimensional, handsome, resilient, and heart-centered, the soulful Kevin Sorbo. How you doing, Kev?
Dude, send me that introduction. I'm going to make sure everybody reads that before I do my speaking events.
I did good by you. You feeling nice and elevated?
I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good. I got to change one thing, though.
Okay.
You have an old bio there. I've shot over 80 movies.
I apologize.
Oh, it's okay. 40 is a lot, too. But I've shot, and not all my movies are good. I'm the first to admit. There's a dozen I wish I didn't do. But, I like to work.
Understood. Same. I'm going to let the team know that one's on me. And I want to give you the credit you deserve. And we were just talking before we hit record, and you're promoting something new right now, which is really exciting. And it's funny because making the movie, writing the book, whatever the case may be, those, I don't want to say easy, but that compared to promoting it and spreading the message, maybe that part's a little bit more demanding.
Well, it's tough because, you look at the Hollywood movies, which are taking a beating for the most part this year, but, they spend $50 million, $100 million, $300 million for just the budget on these movies. And if you take a typical, like Indiana Jones, $280 million budget, they spent probably $80 million promoting it. They're going to lose their butt on that movie. It's not going to do very well. But when they have that much money to promote it, they're able to put their trailer on every football game and basketball game and soap opera or wherever. So they just inundate with people. When I do my little independent movies, which are much better than what Hollywood's doing, I do movies that Hollywood used to do, movies that have hope and love and laughter and faith and redemption. And, there's a soul to the movies. I got to get out there. I just told you, I've been on 8 flights in 13 days already. I'm going to go home tomorrow for a half a day, and then I hit it again on Saturday. But I get it. It's part of it. I mean, it's word of mouth is what make these movies successful. And so I need people to really jump on board this movie. It's a fantastic movie. It's a great PG rated movie, and people will love it.
I absolutely love it. And it's funny because I'm actually fascinated with the movie business. I've always been like a movie nerd and love this stuff. And it's cool because since I reinvented myself from Wall Street to what I'm doing now, I've had the privilege of connecting with awesome people in the business, such as you, hopefully build a friendship and share you with our community. We're about 6 million now. And I always got to kick out of budget and profits and stuff like that. So I'm familiar with what you just referenced in regards to Indiana Jones. And then you'll see like a movie that had a very small budget, but they crush it at the box office, and that's profitable and so forth. That movie, what was that movie recently? Sound of Freedom?
Sound of Freedom had it had 2 things going for them. Number one, it was a lower budget. My movies are around $3 million. That was a $15 million budget. And they put another 10 million or so into promoting it. So that one needed to reach about 50 million just to break even. But they got picked up by Angel Studios. And Angel Studios is the hottest place right now because of The Chosen and some of the other movies they've done. So The Chosen and all the movies that come in through Angel are funded by people, not studios. They're not beholden to anybody in the studio world or Hollywood whatsoever. So these are independent projects that feed off the excitement of the fans out there. So when they went online and when Angel picked up Sound of Freedom, they went to their 100 million fan base and said, buy tickets right now, fill up the theaters. And then Hollywood came out and attacked the movie. I looked at my wife and I said, wait a minute. So even Hollywood is saying that they're for child sex trafficking. So I think people said, well, the heck with that. We're going to support this movie anymore. So I want Hollywood to go after my movie. My movie is Miracle in East Texas. I hope they attack me too.
I love, first of all, I want to talk about your movie and a couple of things. So your movie is very interesting because it's a true story, but it's also the way the movie's done. It's kind of like a comedy. Is that right?
Yeah. It won 10 film festivals and won everything from best family movie to best romantic comedy to best audience favorite, judges favorite. It's a true story. It's called Miracle in East Texas. And it's about the largest oil find in the history of the world back in 1930. And it's about 2 con men. I directed it as well, but myself and John Ratzenberger played the 2 con men that went through Oklahoma and Texas. right in the heart of the Depression there in 1930, wooing widows out of their money on fake oil wells. They would sell 500% of the shares, declare a dry hole, move to the next town. They strike oil by accident in Kilgore. It ends up being the largest oil find in the history of the world. And of course, they get arrested because you can't have 500% of anything. So all the widows from Oklahoma, Texas, that ripped off. They show up at the jury, the court trial with the men, back then, all men jury, of course. And they wanted to see him hang. And the miracle is not that they struck oil, just it's what happens afterwards. It's a wonderful story. It's got hope. It's got redemption. It's got laughter and people. It's PG. You can take your kids. Go to sorbostudios.com. Sign up at sorbostudios.com. It's a Fathom event. If you don't know what Fathom is, you only get 2 days in theaters with these guys. But they're able to get us to 750 screens. If we sell out all these theaters, we'll get more days. But it enables small movies like ours, independent movies, to at least have a chance to get in movie theaters.
I love it so much. And there's a common theme in a lot of the movies that you do, and that's like faith-based and hope. And you may not know this, but you were actually in one of my favorite movies of all time. And I think the movie that I'm referring to might surprise you.
What is it?
Can you guess?
I've got a lot of movies. I don't know.
Soul Surfer.
Great movie.
I was obsessed with the story, specifically of Bethany. When I was in a dark season a few years back, I really gravitated towards her message. And then obviously the movie was unbelievable. I've seen it 100 times. Sometimes like when I'm working, I'll just have it in the background. But I specifically love your role in that movie too. And I wanted to ask you, were you very familiar with the real life Bethany's story before you signed on to do the movie?
You know what? It happened to her when she was 13 years old. And I remember flipping channels and I saw her in an interview talking about what happened to her. And I remember, so I was curious. So I went and read, and I read about it, how she was attacked by the shark on the North Shore of Kauai. She was ranked like one of the top surfers in the world in the under 15-year-old category. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then to see this girl say, God is using me. God is using me now to get out there and talk and to have people know about who he is and his love for you. And I was like, oh, this is a 13-year-old girl. It was being interviewed by Matt Lauer on the Today Show. And it's not Matt Lauer's face because, that's for them. They don't want to talk about God. They're happy talking about, pedophiles and terrorists and stuff, but don't talk about God. And I just thought, this is so great. They don't know what to do with this little girl. And then years later, they come to me with the movie. And I had a blast on it. Dennis Quaid's in it, Helen Hunt's in it, Anna Sophia Robb did a great job. And they took out a couple scenes that I was in. I wasn't happy about, but I get it. You got to keep moving along.
Yeah, you were so cool in it though, as you always are.
I saved her life, man. I saved her life.
Did. Yeah, that scene just gives me the chills. Just the whole thing.
I met the real guy, and he told me he had nightmares for 6 months. And the only thing that was different in the movie, real quick, in real life, he sent his daughter and his son. In the movie, he would keep my daughter out with me to be with her. He thought there was going to be a feeding frenzy by sharks, all the blood and water. He said, get out of here, go call 911 right now. So he paddled over to it, realizing, we're both going to die out here today, but I can't leave this little girl out here by herself. Wow. And it was just an amazing story.
Yeah, it really is. Beautiful. And a lot of the movies that you do are faith-based, and I imagine that's not, by coincidence. How important is your faith and your spirituality and stuff like that to you?
Well, I've always had it. I've never been a non-believer. I grew up in a church family. I'm not the perfect Christian. I'll tell you that much right now. I don't know if anybody is. Right. But I've never stopped believing, even going through some terrible teen years and, in my 20s and, discovering life. I never stopped believing or praying. I look at the world around us and I go, it's like you look at a building, you go, who made that building? And somebody made it. Yeah, exactly. Somebody made it. Okay. We didn't make this planet. It didn't just happen. We didn't make the stars. So one day I'll find out and I'll have all the answers. But I know that there's something out there far more intelligent and powerful than any of us on this little planet.
I think that's so beautiful. And just a quick 2-second background. I grew up Jewish, but I'm not very religious. But what's most important to me is my relationship with God. And I've been kind of like a spiritual free agent as of lately, just like taking different pieces and seeing what I gravitate towards. Sure. I think religion, just like politics, could be a little divisive, but the way you actually just articulated it was so beautiful. We didn't create the stars and all that stuff. There's got to be something else out there. And it's a nice, I don't think there's a better inner confidence than to believe.
Yeah, there's no question. My wife and I take a group of 80 people every year over to Israel. And
I saw you were recently there by the wall.
Yeah. And actually I went twice last year. I did a documentary as well. I was the real life Indiana Jones. So archaeological digs, we followed the flow of the Ark of the Covenant. That's going to come out later this year. Maybe I can do an interview at Christmas time. It's called the Quest for the Throne. So we'll do it over Hanukkah. And it was really really educational. But we take a group every year, and I'm telling people, I said, you can be an atheist, you can be agnostic, you can be a believer of any faith. The history is there. There was a Jesus. There's not one scholared atheist that does debates that that denies that there was a Jesus. There's too many records on it. So
yeah,
it's pretty interesting.
Kevin, you speak a lot too?
I do. I wrote a book that's called True Strength after I suffered I had an aneurysm during the Hercules years I didn't know about, the end of season 5, and it blew up my body and sent hundreds of clots in my arm and a series of clots into my brain. It took me 4 months to learn how to walk and balance again. It took me 3 years to fully recover. So I wrote a book called True Strength with the subtitle, My Journey from Hercules to Mere Mortal and How Nearly Dying Saved My Life. And I didn't want to write the book. My wife made me. She said, Kevin, you were 6'3", 230 pounds. You were like 8% body fat. You're in unbelievable shape, and you have something that could have killed you. People need to hear your story, and I'll tell you, it's been a godsend because that book has. I do about 15 speaking events a year since that book came out 11 years ago, and the people come up to me, the cancer survivors, stroke survivors, car crash, whatever, and they say your book motivated me to stop feeling sorry for myself. A lot of humor in the book. There's a lot of good stories in the book, and it's really about. We all have a story. I don't go in there and say my story is better than anybody else. I talk to people, and I realize there's a lot of people out there going through problems, pain, psychological, physical, whatever it may be. God never promised us an easy life. How do you get through these things in life, these obstacles, these blocks, these blockades? You can blame God, blame a God you don't believe in, blame the world, blame the government. But the reality is you got to look in the mirror and say, it happened. What am I going to do about this? You got to take control of your life.
100%. And like, just to be clear, like if you're going through it, give yourself maybe a day, have a little bit of a meltdown, but then after that, no more pity party. You're not a victim. Yeah. What's the next move? And for somebody that's been through stuff like that, to showcase your resilience and hope, it's great inspiration for anybody that's going through any type of dark season.
Yeah, and hopefully somebody has a good support team. For me, it was my wife. I mean, she was a tough New Yorker.
Oh, she's from here?
Oh, yeah. Yep. New Rochelle, and then she lived in Manhattan for many years. We had a home in Long Island for a long time. We sold it about 4 years ago.
Which part of Long Island?
Sag Harbor.
Oh, very cool. I grew up in Merrick, but I'm here in Manhattan now.
Yeah. Well, I was just there. Doing publicity. I was there. I did. They had me all over the place. And then I went and played Joe Namath's tournament at Bethpage Black out there in Long Island.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll connect offline, and maybe next time you're here, we could try to grab a cup of coffee.
That'd be good. I'd like that.
Yeah. I love that you're speaking about this stuff. And I could tell, like, for me, like I do a lot of coaching and speaking now. And when someone like will listen to this podcast, they'll come up to me or send me a message. Hey, I heard you, Kevin, speaking. Something that you really said shifted my perspective. That there's no better feeling of fulfillment, and I'm really making a difference.
Well, I did Hercules for 7 years, became the most watched show in the world. I did another so-called Andromeda after that. I get stopped almost all the time now, not for those 2 shows. I get stopped. People say, I love God's Not Dead, Soul Surfer, What If, Let There Be Light. Please make more movies like that. Well, I'm making those kind of movies. But like I said, we need people to support these things. So please go to sorbostudios.com. That's the best place to go, sorbostudios.com. You can buy tickets right now. You can find out what theaters near you. So please check it out because this is a wonderful family movie. Sell these seats out and we'll get more days in theaters.
Yeah, we're going to put all that in the show notes, and I encourage everybody to see it. And also, like, you made over 80 movies. You said, like, you can tell the enthusiasm and how jazzed you are about this, and specifically what you're doing. It's very contagious.
Well, I still love the process. I still love being on this movie set. I love the creative people around me, and I fell in love with acting when I was just 11 years old. All my football and basketball buddies made fun of me for it, but all the best looking girls were in drama class, so I enjoyed being there. But it's just something, I'm going to keep making movies. I look at Clint Eastwood as my hero. I hope I live to be in my 90s because I'm going to keep working until I can't work no more.
Good for you. And that's what keeps us young, gives us purpose. Kev, how young are you?
I'm the big 6'0", dude.
60 years young, just get warmed up.
I know. I shot Hercules for 7 years in my 30s. In fact, it was 30 years ago this year we started filming Hercules. I can't believe it. 30 years ago.
How old is Harrison? You just did Indiana Jones.
Oh, he's got to be in his 70s now.
Probably almost 80.
He's got him. Yeah, I think you're probably right. But Hollywood did in that movie what they do in all these movies now. They make these girls the big tough ones, the big heroes of the day. So
Yeah.
I've got a book out with Brave Books right now. I want people to go to bravebooks.com. It's called The Test of Manhood. And it's a book about we need boys to be boys. Let boys be boys. Let them grow up to be men, strong men, masculine men. That does not miss some big muscles. Just men that are good providers for their family. This takes nothing away from a mom, from a wife, from a husband and a father. They both have equal important tasks in the family, but we're different. We're different. Men are different from women. Women are different from men. That's not a negative thing towards anybody. This book doesn't bash anything or anybody. Just a wonderful story about this little cub bear that has to save his little sister's life, and it's up to him to save her life. And it's a wonderful story about getting past the fears in life, your insecurities in life, and finding the courage to do the right thing.
Yeah. First of all, I love this. And I was checking out some of your content, which I highly suggest everybody do immediately following this episode. And I wanted to create a little bit of space. I saw you were getting really passionate about, you were talking about embracing masculinity.
Yeah,
And,
my son wears a T-shirt saying that.
yeah. And look, I don't have kids yet. I'm engaged. Hopefully, God will.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, technically, I have a son, but he's a poodle. We just got a puppy. My best friend, my brother, my little nephew is 3, and it's just very interesting to me now. I know like schools and politics and this woke stuff, it's going in a different direction. And I imagine that could be a little confusing for kids.
Oh yeah. And why do we confuse kids? Let kids be kids.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy what we're doing in the world right now. Our public education system is absolutely pathetic. It's horrible. My wife is a homeschool advocate. She travels the country. She's got 4 books in the subject. Take them out of school. One of the blessings of COVID is all these families woke up to how horrible our public schools are and how bad our school boards are. 2 million more families are now homeschooling because of what
right?
COVID is. So that's a blessing of COVID.
Wait, so because they saw that it was more beneficial from having to stay at home, now they're sticking with it?
Yep. Homeschool, the public school system is unbelievably corrupt and bad and horrible. Why won't teachers allow filming in the schools? Why can't you have film cameras in the schoolrooms? What are they hiding? We have them in our government offices. I mean, all the government, you can watch what's going on in Congress. You can watch all that stuff. It's on TV. Why? What are teachers hiding? I mean, they're telling kids, make sure you don't tell your parents about this. I mean, my book, they'll probably fight my book because it's let boys be boys. We don't want that. We give Pride. They had Pride Month. We give our veterans, the people that made this country safe and secure, which we're bashing out too. We give veterans one day, Veterans Day, one day. But Pride, let's give it a whole month. I mean, it's insane what we're doing. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and I'm just, first of all, I love what you're saying. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Is there any risk of keeping your kid at home all the time, where maybe they don't get that social atmosphere at all?
You're completely wrong. They're the most social kids you'll ever meet in your life. Seriously, that is such a misguided information. You're not the first one. Everybody says it.
No, I'm glad I asked you.
No,
so yeah,
because they're around adults. If you do the classical conversation, for instance, they're going to have one day a week where they'll go to a church and they'll be with other kids in the group. They make friends that way. They still involved in sports. They can still play sports. I'm still paying my taxes for public schools, so they can still go play basketball, still play football, still play soccer, lacrosse, whatever it may be. So that doesn't go away. So my kids, no. I mean, my son, Braden's now 22, has been under Charlie Kirksman, Turning Point USA. He's been working with Charlie Kirk for the last 4 years. He just got done at a speaking event that he got a paid gig for, and up in Ohio. Just got back last week. I mean, this kid, he is an entrepreneur and he's a go-getter, and I love that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to clarify, I didn't mean your kids specifically. I just meant in general.
No.
Yeah,
I wasn't taking that personally.
but
I get it.
That's
all
the
that.
perfect.
If you
perfect
meet
answer.
my kids, you'd be blown. If you meet homeschool kids, you'd be blown away.
Is the perfect answer. There's still recreational stuff, sports, and all this stuff.
Yep.
I wanted to ask you one more deep one, if you don't mind. This
Sure.
for a conversation, we're kind of all over the map, but I think these are the best. I know that it's very well documented. You talk about when you and your wife miscarried and you were kind of struggling to start a family and so forth.
Right.
And there's a lot of people in our audience and so forth that are struggling with that. And I'm wondering, what is the mindset while you're going through that to stay optimistic and stay positive, and then ultimately, hopefully, get the result that you have with 3 beautiful children?
Yeah, we had a hard time getting pregnant, and so we wrote a follow-up book to True Strength called True Faith. And it's really embracing God's light when, you know, when you have these different things happen to you in your life. And we were actually going through the process of doing the whole adoption thing, and then she got pregnant. And you know, it took us, let's see, we were married how many years? 4 years before she got pregnant. So it was frustrating. It was a struggle. When she got pregnant the second time, we had twins, and she lost them in the 4th month, and that was tough. It's probably tougher on her because she's the one carrying them,
Sure.
but it was tough on me as well, because it was really weird, because when we met, started dating, I told her, you know, in my life, I've always dreamed that I was gonna have 3 kids, and I don't know why 3. I've known since I was 16, and I was gonna have a boy, boy, girl in that order. And she said, that's what I'm gonna have. That's what I've always had. I mean, we had so many things that intertwined with each other. And I told her I wanted to get married. I said, well, there's a church in the mountains. It's in a ski resort. And she looked at me, she goes, is it in Europe? I go, yeah. Is it in Garmisch? And I said, yeah. She goes, I have a photo of that church in my office. I went, what? Because I did a commercial in the mountains I did a ski commercial for a sports company in Austria. And we went to Garmisch, and there was this church at 14,000 feet. And I went into it, and it only holds like 40 people, built into the mountain, and it's beautiful. We didn't get married there, but it was, I said, I'm going to get married there one day. And that was her. I mean, it was just weird. We have so many things parallel. So when we lost the twins, it was brutal. And then she got pregnant again. And my second son set a record for the hospital. He was 12.5 pounds at birth.
Wow.
And I went back to my wife, and I was just crying tears of joy. And she was laying there because they did an emergency C-section on her with that one. And I said, our twins came back as one big boy. So every time she meets anybody with twins, she says, how much did they weigh together? Because almost every time she outweighs them both, because one was 4 and one was 3.5 or whatever. She goes, yeah, mine was 12.
I love that. I love that whole story, and I don't believe in
Pretty
coincidence.
funny.
Yeah, and just the way.
And then we had a girl. Then we had our girl last. So we had boy, boy, girl. So the prophecy was fulfilled, which is pretty bizarre.
The prophecy was fulfilled. Beautifully said. Final nugget. How can I not ask Hercules? What's your fitness routine these days?
You know, I still work out every day. I mean, a Hercules, of course, was a different beast. I mean, I was, you know, 2 hours every day after a 12 to 14-hour day on set. But I had a great trainer. My trainer down there was unbelievable. He was an American guy out of California, but he went down there years ago and fell in love with a Kiwi gal. So he opened his own small training gym where they'd only have maybe 2 other people when I went in there. They had big gyms in New Zealand, of course, but I got to a point that I had to find a private trainer because everybody wanted to talk to me at the other gym, because most of the people worked on Hercules by that point. So I just wanted to work out after a long day. And this guy was amazing. But I still do, you know, I lift 6 days a week. I'll do arms and shoulders, chest and back, and then legs. And I do 30 to 40 minutes of cardio every single day. And we have a pickleball court, and my boys and I will play pickleball at least every other day. So I get like a double cardio in there. So I still work for an old dude. I'm still active.
Good for you. You look great, brother. Straight up.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm at 210 now. I was 230 on Hercules, but I'm not 30 years old anymore either.
Yeah, but you still got it. Let's see the guns.
Yeah, you know, still working out. It's I'm still fit for an old dude.
Yes, you are, and it's only age is only a number. We're wrapping up. Think I know the answer to this. We have a very big, loyal, engaged audience. What's the best way for them to support you? Obviously, you're most excited about the movie right now. Best way, we'll put that in the show notes, is to go get tickets and go see it.
SorboStudios.com. Please go to SorboStudios.com. Your support will mean everything to us. This movie's fantastic. It's PG rated. You can take your kids. It's fun. It's a true story all the way through. You'll be surprised at the things that happen as you go along. You're going, no way that happened. It did happen. And it's a wonderful, wonderful true story. And also bravebooks.com, bravebooks.com. They make books for 4 to 12-year-olds. If you go there now, you get my book for free autographed, as long as you sign up for at least a year. And then you get a new book every month.
Love it. Done and done. Kev, hang out for 1 sec. I want to connect to you after. I want you to know the definition of resilience, hope, and unbelievable energy. I could personally guarantee your best is yet to come. Keep on spreading your wings and leaving your mark on this world. So much love and respect for you. Thank you so much for stopping by and dropping these priceless, juicy nuggets today.
Awesome. Love it.
That was great. Short and sweet.
Cool. Appreciate it, dude.
Yeah. Do you come
I'll
out?
let you know when I come. I'll let you know when I come in there. I can get your info from Ben as well. So
Okay, I would love that. I know we're both very busy, especially you right now with promoting and stuff. But if our schedules permit, we grab a cup of coffee at Soul House or something.
sounds good.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a
All
great
right.
rest of the day and keep up the great work.
Thank you. I'm actually here in Oklahoma City right now. I'm showing to my movie to 450 oil guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What, when? Tonight?
tonight. Yep.
Knock
They're
'em dead.
picking they're picking me up. They're picking me up here. My other interview starts in 5 minutes, and then I've got he's picking me up at about 4:40. So I got about an hour.
Go do your thing, crush it, and
All
we'll
right, man.
connect. Bye,
Take
Kev.
care.